TheatrePulse, where we take everything we can to help you keep in touch with the heart of the community of Ventura and Los Angeles theater. Tonight I had the opportunity to catch up with Jolyn Johnson, who is the producer of Nine at Camarillo Skyway Playhouse, which opens on October 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
They go into tech next week, so we caught her just in time. Can you tell us a little bit about Camarillo Skyway Playhouse? This theater has kind of an interesting history.
Yeah, sure. Actually, we were founded in 1970. It used to be a movie theater, and then we've converted it into an actual theater. One of the interesting things is our founder was famous for being in some old films, such as the Superman serials. Oh yeah, no, you can totally look him up. It's great. And so we've got a good history with that, and with actual actors who are in film and in TV in terms of the founding of the theater. Then when we moved into changing it from Camarillo Airport Theater, as it used to be named, then we renamed it to Camarillo Skyway Playhouse. We wanted to give it a sort of a new feeling, a brand that gave it a way to incorporate more ideas, different chances to do different kinds of work into the theater.
So some of the theaters around the area have like a theater ghost, which is my favorite thing. But my son recently did a show here, and he was very scared because they said that there's such a thing as some theaters have a theater ghost. He was terrified. He's 8. And I had the opportunity to explain to him that this particular theater does not have a theater ghost, but there is a kind of close to you spirit that in the theater. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Because people will walk in. You'll walk into the theater, and there is something very special in a special place in the theater.
My mother produced over 40 plays here before she passed away, and she worked here for many years doing the box office as well. Never quite got her on stage. One of the things she was famous for, though, was sitting in the back of the house and laughing during shows. Everybody said that her laugh was just sort of infectious, and
everybody knew her laugh.
Yeah, apparently I've
and
sort
it's
of
been
inherited it. But in terms, so yeah, it's her spirit is here. I was told by one person once, not so long after she had passed, that they came to see a show here, and they heard laughter, and they looked around and they said it was very distinctly it was my mother's laughter at the show. And then they told me, they said, I just want to let you know that she's still here and she's still watching the shows. And so that made me feel nice. It was.
And what particular thing do you have?
Oh, here in the theater, it was very, very kind. There is a plaque that's in the theater. And it was presented when the entire theater got our name switched over to Camarillo Skyway Playhouse. I had no idea that members of the board were doing this. It was very sweet, thoughtful, and during the ceremony, was brought up on stage and given it. And now we have a plaque for my mother that's up in the lobby. So, if you ever want to come to the theater and say hi to her, she's still here watching the shows. You can, go touch the plaque and just
Rub
say,
the
hi,
plaque.
Janice.
Rub it. It's easy. It's easy to do. Okay, so you don't cry. We're going to go into something else. Okay, so now, different theaters in Ventura and Los Angeles counties have a little bit, their producers sometimes do different kinds of jobs. So you are the producer for Nine.
Yes.
What particular jobs or responsibilities does the producer do either for this theater or for this particular show? Is there a difference?
Well, yeah, like you said, it's different for every theater.
Well, I think a straight show would have slightly different responsibilities than a musical. Just there's a little bit more involved in a musical sometimes.
I think it depends. One on the theater, like you said. Sometimes the producer doesn't do much more except for the money counting and, advertisement and
media,
that kind of thing. For me, for this show, I wanted to do this show for a while, and I was really happy when it got chosen. I wanted to do it, though producing, I knew I wasn't the right director for it, but I wanted to be involved. So I already knew some of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to do different things with advertising, because it's not a show that's as familiar for some people. So
that'd be me.
So
knew nothing about this show.
So we're doing things like
they're like, who's this crazy interviewer?
No, it's fine. It's different from the film. So one of the things that that we're doing is, but some people know the movie.
Yeah, I do know the movie. You're right.
So some of the and some people we're telling people, hey, so you know that movie that had Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, what a fantastic actor. And then I go, yeah, you need to come see the show.
Excellent.
And then for some of the theater people who are going, wait, I kind of know that show, but I'm not quite sure. What we're doing is we're releasing in small little bits. Instead of a meet the actor, we're saying meet the character.
Oh, that's clever, because there's quite a few. How many female characters?
There's a total of 12 characters.
There's quite a few.
There's one boy, one man. The rest are all women.
Wow.
So
that's kind of fun, though. You get to know the characters individually.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping that helps people go, oh, what an interesting sounding character that this is. And so I've gotten to do that. I've gotten to do the typical producer thing in terms of, yes, the money, but I'm trying to do different things with social media and marketing. Working very closely.
That'd be us again.
I'm working very closely with our marketing director and our artistic director on that. I got a chance to basically, I'm sort of in charge of making sure that the right hand's speaking to the left hand. I did the wrong hands there. Just, you know.
I didn't even notice.
So yeah.
That's so good.
But yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody kind of talks to each other, and that basically I'm able to deliver the director's concept onto our stage as best as I possibly can.
So are you a go-between for the actors and the director?
Yeah, I between the actors and the director, a lot of the times, I was thankful this time that Ken had really good one-on-one stuff with the actor, so I didn't have to do it as much this time. Behind the scenes stuff between all of the designers for this show, because we've got quite a few people. This is a multimedia show, so we're having filmed stuff done in the style of Fellini that's going to be projected while the show's going on. So yeah, we're doing lots of different things that way. So making sure all of that works and that Ken is able to focus on just the directing aspect, hopefully.
Now he has a rapport with his musical director.
Yes.
So do you have to help with that at all, or?
Luckily, I don't have to worry about that. We had our production meeting at the beginning, and we all sat down and agreed about everything, and it was really nice to be all on the same page about that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's really difficult when that doesn't happen. That's really nice. So, okay, let's talk about you for a minute. Can we talk about you for a little bit? Okay, so you've won quite a few awards. I've noticed. I Googled.
Oh, dear.
And including for production of 1776. Now that show was kind of epic. I know all the costumes were amazing and crazy, and people from everywhere, like, it was kind of epic. That had to be different from producing a show like this, where people aren't as familiar, or it's like completely different. I'm not sure that these two work together as a good comparison, but I thought, how is producing 1776, which is a different kind of work, different from this? Was it different, or is it the same?
No, it was different. One, I'd never, for Nine, I'd never worked with Ken in terms of me being a producer and him being a director before, so that was new. Whereas me working with my father, who was the director of 1776, we already had a rapport going, so it was a lot simpler for that aspect of it, because it was just, that needs to be done, okay, got it. This was a lot more of like,
You're
we
at
need
dinner.
to talk some more.
We're like, oh, we need to do that
yeah,
thing. Like,
yeah, yeah. 1776, we also had the nice kind of luxury of having it right around 4th of July.
Oh.
So advertising for that was, hey, come on, Spirit of America, all that kind of thing. And you think that this is boring. It's not boring. You need to come and see it. And so that's kind of how that one was a little bit different.
Yeah, I heard your production of that was anything but boring. I heard it was quite amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so you also won an award for the Laramie Project, which you did in 2012. And you won your award for that was not for producing, that was for directing. Is that correct?
No. A Laramie Project was given a Judge's Choice Award.
So that was an overall special award. It wasn't categorized in that way. It was a particular award. Mm-hmm. So that show is kind of difficult. Did you enjoy directing that show?
I loved it.
Really?
I loved every minute of it.
Okay.
If I could go back and direct it all over again, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, okay. So, well, why did you think that, I don't know who pitched the show. Why did you think that show needed to be done here? That seems, it kind of seems like an LA show or some place. Well, it seems like the kind of, like a small black box might do it, mm-hmm. or some place where a particular, this particular community, I don't know that most people would come into this area and say, this show needs to be done, and do it with passion, and then win an award for the job they did for it, and not just a directing, but not categorized award. Mm-hmm. It was an above honor award. So why here?
I'd actually wanted to do it for 10 years.
10 years?
10 years. I'd been asking and pushing and saying, please, can we do it, and pitching it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And someone told me, it's never going to get done at Camarillo. And I'm like,
okay.
All right.
Never say never.
And then, no, never say never. 10 years. And I'm just like, well, and I was pushing mainly just for it to get done, not even necessarily for me.
Oh, okay.
The reason for that, to answer your question, is because I felt it was an important work in terms of tolerance and human decency that kind of transcends anything where people think that, whether you are, there are some people who, in terms of homosexuals and homosexuality, they have
She can say it, I'm Catholic. We can discuss it.
That some people just feel a negative connotation mm-hmm. about it. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to do is to show them that's not what this is about. It's about loving your fellow humans and just being kind. And
that show goes beyond the theme, though. That show really is poignant, and it makes you think about just your life choices all the time. Yeah. The story is really important because of what happens. It's the Laramie Project, and you can feel free to Google that on your own. But it's interesting that you were able to get across such an important message without it being all about the gay people, because it wasn't that way. It didn't come across that way. Okay. It was a shame. Maybe it did. Maybe I'm wrong. Sorry, internet. I warned you that I was like this. But it's a forward-thinking show.
Yes.
And you just felt really strongly that message of universal love really needed to be done. But like for yourself, or just that message is just really important and
I think
needs to be made more.
No, I think it's something that actually needs to be. There are a lot of theaters in the area that like to put on shows that are for pure entertainment purposes. And I have no problem with that, because there are plenty of shows that I like that are just fun.
Well, you do shows like that here.
But yes, but for that particular show, the reason is that I had hoped that it would educate people, and that they would be able to watch it and take something home away from it.
So it's kind of like choosing to use theater as a venue to not just make beauty and not just be entertainment, but also to like expand people's
horizons and their
possibly they would think of it later and just think of it later. And have that. That's really cool. So, okay. So in my research of Jolyn,
oh dear, okay,
there seemed to be that you had a penchant for shows like that. You did like it wasn't completely, but it was very rethought version of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. That was in 2013. And I have that you also won an award for Best Direction for Next to Normal in 2014, which is an intense, incredible show. Sorry. But I mean, that show vocally is intense. It is. Very difficult. Theme-wise, incredibly difficult. Just getting actors to emotionally where they need to be, night after night, for weeks on end, and not give them drugs to get through it. So, when it comes to shows like that, revamped thoughts or more forward thinking in a smaller theater, in a fairly conservative community, what inspires you? Like with Next to Normal, what inspired you with that show? How was that experience? Was it more difficult because of this particular theater and this particular community? Or was it more inspiring?
It was more difficult for marketing.
Oh, okay.
But not necessarily because it's a conservative community, but because a lot of people hadn't heard of the show, despite the fact that it won the Tony.
And you always know the Tonys. I never know the Tonys, so I email Jolyn and I say, what does this mean? And she's like, seriously, how do you not know this? It won this Tony and that Tony and that. I'm a bad theater person.
But no,
it did. I knew that one.
See?
But
yeah, that was the big challenge.
So that show wasn't like a known show.
It was known within the theater community.
Okay.
And there were people who auditioned. I had quite a few audition for that one because they just had a passion for it. It had not been done in Ventura County. You know, we were the Ventura County premiere of.
That's right. It was a premiere here at this theater. That's right.
So people were just dying to do this show, in terms of the actors. So I really was blessed with wonderful, passionate actors who felt as deeply about the show as I did.
And so the experience overall, good?
Oh my God, it was wonderful.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's another show that if I could grab that whole cast again and we could just be like, can we just do like 6 more weeks of this, please? I'd totally do it.
Let's do some more intense vocal, emotional trauma.
Yeah.
That's just pretty intense.
It's very difficult vocally. It's and then emotionally goes in pretty crazy places.
Yeah. Anyway, we should move on. I just dropped my bracelet. Okay, so let's go back to production. Okay. You have produced some very big, heavy-hitting shows. You were the producer for The King and I, which was actually my introduction to this theater. My sister was in that. And 1776 we mentioned. Jesus Christ Superstar, which is not a lightweight production to produce. So, and other things that you've done, because you have massive theater everything. So, what would you say you've learned in the years that you've been producing? Are there things that have gotten easier, things that you just loathe doing, or that you're more efficient at, or what have you learned?
What have I learned?
Well, you keep doing it, so you haven't learned that you don't want to do it.
I haven't learned to stop, apparently. That's what it is. No, in terms of theater, I think I've just grown as a person. a lot. And I think definitely things that have helped me in terms of like producing, maybe stage managing, directing. I've grown in that aspect from like, because the first time that I worked on a show, it was, you know, like I was just doing it was a while ago, and I didn't know what I was doing, and okay, you know, and then I don't know, through the years, because that was years ago. But yeah, it's one of those things that as you go through and as you do the different shows that you're working on, I try to work on shows that I only have kind of a passion for, in one way or the other, and yeah, I don't know. I think I've just changed as a person.
Well, we're very lucky you have the passion you do, because you just keep coming out with shows. It's a never-ending passion.
Yay.
So, talking about Camarillo, Camarillo Skyway Playhouse has some challenges that other theaters in the area don't have. All the theaters are all different, but this one in particular, with it being a previous movie theater, has some interesting challenges that you have to work at in regards to space, tech, and other things. How you know this theater, right? So how do you handle, from a production standpoint, how do you handle the challenges that this theater puts in front of you?
I think the key word is what you just said, is that it's a challenge. It's not a limitation.
Yes.
I've had people come in and they look at it and they go, oh, well, I can't do this now. Well, see, now you're looking at it as just a limitation, like a stop. And now you,
instead of
going,
so I
was thinking this, what if I do this instead? And then all of a sudden, you creatively, you know, the set is different. Creatively, your lighting's different. Creatively, your direction's different. You know, so many things can change when you just change your mindset like that.
Is it, does it, as a producer, do you have to handle anything differently than you would at other theaters? I don't know, I probably haven't really, I don't know.
I haven't produced at other theaters.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I've worked at other theaters for stage managing and directing.
Right.
But I haven't had to do, I mean, and those were, you know, again, just completely different experiences, because every theater's got their own little thing.
Yep.
But no, I haven't had to do anything different for producing yet.
Well, I'm trying to keep it to the product. I'm trying.
I know.
It's not working.
It's hard considering that you know, I haven't. But you know, if you want me to come produce your show, just, you know, talk to me.
Okay, so Wes is in the show. Wes is her son, right?
Yes.
And he auditioned and was cast in the show. And he plays tiny little cute adorable Guido, because he's tiny and little and cute, and I don't care if his name is Guido or not, he's adorable. So this particular show has some challenges, though, because there's some adult material, but also, like, it's a full show. It's not a summer camp kids thing. He's doing a regular rehearsal schedule and regular school, and he's done it for a while. He's a theater kid. So how does Wes handle the schedule, the acting challenges, the different things? Like, how does he do with that?
Well, first, in terms of, I just want to say this because I know people are going to say something about it, but he auditioned. There were other kids that auditioned.
Yes.
And then it took, I think, about a week and a half before Ken made up his mind.
Yes.
It was like, so
I vetted.
Just letting you guys know.
I vetted.
And I totally didn't think he was going to get the part, honestly. And I'd prepared him. I said, by the way.
But he looks so Italian.
You know. I'm like, by the way, there's these other little boys, and they're very talented and everything, so just be ready.
So you prepped him. That's awesome.
Because I think that, you know, if somebody wants to actually, you know, work in theater and stuff.
They have to have that mentality.
You know, if they just think, oh, well, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But he decided that he wants to, and so I go, okay, sure.
You gotta.
So for this show, once we knew that he was cast, we got a vocal coach for him.
Oh.
That actually William Carmichael recommended. Thank you. Her name is Jill Walker, and she's done shows and done vocal stuff all around the county.
So on top of the schedule for this and school, he also
has vocal lessons.
He also has that and whatever else he's doing.
And
I don't even know.
No, that's pretty much it for right now. But
Star Wars is coming. He will be doing Star Wars.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's wake up early in the morning, go to school, come home from school, do all your homework, practice your stuff for the show, then go to the show, and he's here from 7 to 10 for every rehearsal, and he's called every rehearsal from Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, they're on the stage, the whole thing, and
yeah.
So, he handles it well. It sounds like he knows what's expected, and
he's been doing well. I usually end up taking the notes for him because he's just at the end of the night
his
tired.
Written notes.
But like written notes from Ken
needs.
or from Paul, then I could be like, and then Eric and I just work with him, and we give it to his vocal teacher, and she will work on any notes that she gets from Paul, who's the music director, and work on those bits and everything to try to improve on that.
So, were you concerned about the adult themes in the show?
No, considering that the very first show? No, second show that he was in was Sweeney Todd.
That's a valid point.
So
Well, you mentioned Eric. That's your husband.
Oh,
and he is also extremely involved in theater. Do you feel like having the theater in your blood with your mom and your dad and working with your husband, like, how do you feel about that? Do you think that it's made an impact on who you are? I mean, aside from the obvious, like, oh, duh, of course it does. I'm at the theater all the time. But, I mean, because a lot of times people aren't sure about getting involved with theater.
Yeah.
And you're very involved in the theater.
It's funny. Eric was not involved in theater.
Because he's an engineer? No,
yeah, he
I don't remember.
Well, his degree is in aerospace engineering. So there you go. He did do ballroom dancing, though, and was a competitive ballroom dancer before I met him. Yeah.
But still not theater, though.
It's not theater. It's a style of performing at the very least, though.
So did you get him involved on his own, or
what happened?
Coercion?
Okay, story time. So, Into the Woods, my father was directing, and he didn't like some of the choreography, and so he asked if I could come in, and if Eric could come in and help choreograph a tango.
And he is a ballroom dancer guy.
And so then we said, sure, we can choreograph a tango, no problem. And we listened to the music, we're like, that's not tango music. But sure, we'll do it anyways. We'll make it work. We'll make it look like a tango. That's what we'll do. And so we did it, and my father really liked it. And we said, cool, awesome, glad we could help. And then he said, why don't you just do the choreography for the rest of the show? So we did the choreography for the rest of the show. And then he goes, I need somebody to help me do the lights, Eric. And Eric's going, I don't know how to do that. And my father said, I'll teach you.
Oh, that's
and
so funny.
That's how my husband got into theater. He was up there laughing his butt off every performance of Into the Woods as he's sitting there poking the button, for everything. So.
That's hilarious. Well, okay, so how do you think it's affected Wes's life?
I think one of the things that I've noticed, and actually one of the things his teachers notice, is that he's very vocal, very confident. Public speaking is not an issue for him at all. He's very friendly and outgoing and likes to... It's something that I know that because of theater and because of getting up on stage and having to say lines and being in front of people like that, it's just... He's like, I have to get up in front of this class and give an oral report? Psh, whatever.
Well, he's also very well behaved. I mean, he spends
a
lot. I have a lot of children. So I have a way to judge that. But all kidding aside, I mean, he is very well behaved, and he spends time with adults, and he isn't that kid that's like, oh my God, I'm around the adults again. And so, do you think that's like, do you want to take all the credit for that?
Sure. No,
or do you think that part of that contribution is actually from being involved in shows like this that aren't just the children's versions?
It's because he gets to be around adults. I've actually noticed a difference, interestingly, when he does shows where there's a big group of kids.
Yes.
It sort of pulls him back into that kid mindset. Mm-hmm. When he is around adults who are there and are ready to work, all of a sudden his mindset is in the same one as them.
And learning a good work ethic, too.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with working with a group of kids, because I want him to have that experience, too. But interestingly, it does change a little bit. And every now and then we'd have to pull him aside and be like, remember, we're here to work. Oh, right. Okay.
I understand that. Okay, so you have worked with Eric. I heard the story. Right. So a lot of people are like, oh no, I do not want to be working with my spouse. I don't want to do it. That sounds crazy. And you worked with your father, and obviously your mother, like we were talking about. So can you speak to whether or not it's a positive situation? I mean, aside from just it being you and Eric, like obviously you guys have a strong relationship, so it's positive in that aspect. But for it to be like, it's a creative outlet, yes, but you also are working together. You have to have kind of a business relationship. It has to be separate from the other stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you find that to be positive? Do you find it to help your relationship? What can you speak to?
I find it to be both positive and negative, actually, at times. Positive in the sense that we do get to work together, and so if one of us was working on a show and the other one was not, then that's a lot of time away from each other that we don't get to have as much anymore.
And then you're not with your family. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So working together, actually, even if it's just a business thing and I'm the producer and I'm telling him as whatever he's doing for that show, because he wears multiple hats too.
He does.
Then, and we just work it all out, and it's business, and then we go home, and then back to being us. The negative aspect is sometimes the stress from the show can sometimes carry back home, and then we just kind of go, we need to decompress. We need to do something that is not theater just for us for a little bit. So it's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Throw the size in. I got the size in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, just something every now and then just for us, and the rest of it, and then we are ready to go back to the theater and do our stuff together.
So I'm going to tell what my joke was. Jolyn has posted on her personal Facebook page some what she called embarrassing videos of an exercise program called Size. And I was amazed at the choreography in them and commented on that. So that's what that joke is. Sorry. So let's talk about Nine a little bit more.
Sure.
Okay. I don't want to go through the plot of the show.
Okay.
People have many opportunities to find the plot of the show. And you're giving a lot of opportunity on the Camarillo website and on Facebook for them to engage with the characters and that sort of thing. So what do you, as the producer, what do you want people to walk out, the audience to walk out with from this show? What is your passion with this show?
My passion for this show is that, again, it's non-linear, so it challenges you in that aspect.
Okay.
It also delves into some mother issues.
Oh, great. I just did a show with that.
I know. It delves into issues of religion, and then because it is a spoiler,
spoiler,
slightly autobiographical for Fellini.
Oh, okay.
And his life. which was what he did when he decided to make 8.5, which this is based on.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm following.
So what I'd like for people to do is hopefully learn from Fellini's mistakes that he made in his real life, that he then put on screen, that then got put into a musical. It's a wonderful character study, and it's something that there are just amazing characters in it for both a man and for all of these wonderful women. But I hope that people walk away and go like, wow, that could have happened to me, or that might be happening to me, and maybe
I need to change that.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Hopefully.
Fix it. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so anything about producing that you would like to share with the internet actors and directors? Do you have any advice? Do you have any funny stories?
Oh,
do you want to be like, hire me?
Hire me, sure.
Well, because some people really enjoy producing.
Yes.
Some people have no idea what producers do, and some people absolutely hate the entire idea of it. So, what?
I think, the one thing I would say is to people that don't know what producers do, is to check the various theaters around here, because everyone has their own little twist on what it is.
They are tweaky it, and everything's tweaked a little bit. It's true.
But here at Camarillo, it is not about keeping the money. You do get to have creative input into it, which is what makes it fun. Because if it was just I'm keeping the track of the books on my Excel sheet.
You mean keeping track of the money?
Keeping track of the money, and here
and
are your books to read, and okay, bye.
And then that's it. Yes, yes, and then disappear. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and in this you get to have some creative input, actually working with the director and working with the whole production team, and that's the part that's fun. So that even if somebody who's like, oh, I really want to direct, I'm like, well, you could produce too, and then you could still have some of that kind of fun stuff.
Does it make it more stressful?
I think
you keep saying fun, so I'm thinking maybe not.
It's I think anything for theater is stressful.
Okay.
In some aspect.
Though. That's true.
To be fair.
It's true. It's a fun stress though.
It's a fun stress. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing it.
I choose that stress. Right? Yeah, I got it. Okay.
We're all crazy, right?
So some of us more than others.
Okay.
So let's when does the show run?
It opens October 2nd and goes through November 8th. And we don't have a show on Halloween. That way you guys can go out and have fun.
You're good people.
And then, so we are having a special Thursday performance on October 29th for actors out there. And also, if you would like a special discount, then buy your ticket online and you can get it for $10.
Where online?
If you go to nine.brownpapertickets.com.
Okay, and how much are tickets normally?
Normally, tickets are $18 for adults, $14 for student, seniors, and military, $10 for children. This particular show is rated like PG because of some mature themes.
High school students that are homeschooled are considered students?
Yeah,
normally. Yeah. Okay, they just call and say it's a student when they might not have an idea. Okay. And you guys are an all-volunteer operation because I only am interviewing community theaters. Mm-hmm. So are there current volunteer opportunities for this show?
Yes, if you want to come and help us out at the snack bar, for example, that's a super easy thing to do. You just get to be your friendly little self and say, hey, how are you doing? Are you enjoying the show? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, you can sell concessions at our snack bar, and if you do that, then you get to see the show for free.
Oh, that's cool. It's not assigned seating.
It is not assigned seating.
Don't have anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, and how does one find out if they can't do it for this show? Because I know sometimes there's other volunteer opportunities that occur. How could they find out, or if they wanted to join tech or learn tech? It's a really good opportunity for children to learn tech. And
we can use
other
people
adults
for for pretty much like any show. I mean, this one I kind of locked down.
Yeah, this one seems like it's already locked down. You guys are in tech next week, so
yeah.
But I mean, how do they find out about those sort of opportunities in the future?
I would email us to find out and say, hey, I'm interested in set construction or costuming, or maybe being a seamstress if you're not into a whole costume design, or maybe you've got work in terms of lighting design, or anything. We love new people and new blood, because you know what? That means it's less work that we have to do.
So, you guys really are good about new people, though. You're extremely welcoming. So what is the email?
Just email us at info@skywayplayhouse.org.
Okay, and I will make sure and put that in the bottom down there. Now that I did that, it better be there. Okay. What are you planning to do next?
That's a good question. I don't know yet.
Halloween?
Yeah, Halloween. Cosplay.
Cosplay. I always say that wrong. I say cosplay, and people are like, no, it's like costume.
It's cosplay. Yes, you got it wrong.
Me and the pronunciation, and this is what I'm doing is wrong. Well, I figured I'd ask.
But yeah, no, in terms of theater, I don't know yet.
Do we know what CSP is doing yet?
That will be, I think, found out this month at this board meeting this week.
Oh, very exciting! Does it get announced on the website usually?
It will be announced on the website and on our Facebook page.
And what is the website?
It is www.skywayplayhouse.org.
Perfect. Last thing, what are you the most proud of, your proudest thing with this particular cast in this production?
This particular cast in this production, the fact that it's such a difficult score. It goes into sections of opera for parts of it.
Opera,
really.
That's pretty impressive.
So the fact that the team and the cast all rose to the challenge of this really, really hard show that's just not produced around here for some reason. I guess because it's difficult. I don't know. Just such an amazing opportunity for so many people, and the fact that everybody rose to the challenge and just went for it. That makes me happy.
Well, thank you for letting me chat with you.
Oh, of course.
I'm sure that it was insane. If you would like to get more information on what is going on in Ventura and Los Angeles counties, subscribe to TheatrePulse. We will be following up with as many of the shows in the area as we possibly can. And in the meantime, join us next time to keep at the heart of what is in the theater of Ventura and Los Angeles County. Thanks again, guys.